this meeting to order. If you'd please stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have any additions to the agenda? I have a couple that are very, very brief that I'd like to bring up just for informational purposes, and I'd like to hold them to the end of the meeting. They involve meeting with BDCC and the meeting that I had with Governor Scott's people. And I'd like to discuss with the board the things we did. And it's going to be brief, and we'll save that to the end of the meeting. Public comments, I see only Son right there, so I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the 5th and the 7th. You have a chance to review those.
Call you Mr. Pinkerton or temporary chair or? Okay. I can make a motion if you'd like.
If you would, that would be nice.
Okay. I move that we accept the minutes of the special, how about the regular select board meeting on August 5th as written, and the special select board meeting of August 7th as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Reading of the warrants.
Okay. I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 5T accounts payable, $36,710.66. 31S payroll, $14,197.45, and 32S payroll, $14,762.33.
You have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. On to new business. I'd like to welcome Estes, our legislative representative. He's gonna give us a little talk on everything that's happening up on Capitol Hill.
Would you like me to be here, or where would you like? Is this
Wherever
the best
you're
place?
comfortable.
Well, whatever. I don't know how you're used to doing it, so it's my first time here.
This is our guy
I
right there.
recognize you for sure. Yeah. He used to spend a lot of time in Guilford at the select board meetings there. So yes.
He does a good
So
job.
thank you. Yes, my name is Estes, and I am the state representative for Guilford and for Vernon. And I was invited to come this evening, and I thought it's up to you how we run this. I'm prepared to just report out on a few things that happened during the past session, and some issues that we're sort of looking at right now because of federal impacts and or expectations. I probably know only about as much as everyone here in the room knows if you're keeping reading and so forth. So how about if I talk for a little bit, and I certainly want to answer any questions you all have. All right,
Sure.
so,
Sounds good.
So I think that this I would characterize this year, my first year. It's been really a big honor for me to begin this process, representing process. But I would characterize this year, the work at the State House, not just for me, but I think for most people, the idea that the federal impacts that we're starting to get a sense of were coming, and that sort of colored about everything we did. We weren't ever, during the course of the year, the session, we were completely not able, of course, it wouldn't be responsible for us to guess at what might have been coming down the pipe. We didn't really know. So we moved ahead, but what I'm told is the year kind of rolled out in a rather unusual way. Normally, the very last two bills that get approved by the House and the Senate each year are what's called the yield bill, which is the bill that sets the tax rate, the property tax rate for the state, and then the budget. And we passed those actually very early on. After the session is divided into two parts. There's what we call crossover in the middle, and that's where all bills that have been introduced either in the House or the Senate, they cross over in that week. It's a blank week for us, but when we come back, work really begins on actually approving bills out of both the Senate and the House, so that they then move on to the governor. And the budget and the yield bill were some of the earlier bills that we actually approached. And that's because the reason we were able to approach those like that is because we were just working with the information that we had. And there was very strong feeling across the state. I certainly felt it here about the notion of stabilizing property taxes for Vermonters, because things have been, depending on which town you live in, which part of the state you live in, which community, things in the last few years have been very chaotic for some folks. And so the work this year really sought to set a path for being able to stabilize things. Not every single community's tax bills are going to go down this year, partly because they had low tax bills last year, whereas in Guilford, for instance, ours was very high, and it's going to be quite a bit lower this year. All told, this year there were 679 bills introduced into the legislature, into the House. There were another set introduced into the Senate. Of that 679 bills, those all have to go through committee and come out of committee and then presented to the House. So they're introduced I could introduce a bill. They're introduced, 679 of them, and they all go to committee. They get assigned to committee, and ultimately 97 bills were passed this year. 3 bills were vetoed, and I'd like to just note that H91, which is the homelessness bill, was probably the most significant of the 3 vetoes that were taken by Governor Scott this year. I could talk about that endlessly because I'm on the Human Services Committee. So we were the ones who put that bill forward, but it was vetoed. And then there was one bill that was enacted without signature. The governor has the right to, when a bill finally gets to his desk, he has 5 days to act. He can either sign it into law, which he did for 97 bills. He can veto them, which actually writes a letter to the Senate and the House explaining his position, or he can just simply allow it to go forward without his signature, and he did that in one case. So I'm going to just mention 5 big highlights. I think that were really the main work of the House. I spoke a little bit about stabilizing expectations through the spending bill, the yield bill, and through the education bill. I haven't talked about the education bill yet, but those 3 bills together, if you look at them and read them as they go forward, they really make an effort to stabilize taxes for Vermonters going into the future. And there was a lot of work put into thinking about how that could work. And so it was very impressive for me as a newcomer to watch the processes as they move through, watch the bills as they're presented, watch the debate. I don't know if you know that of 150 people in the House, 50 were new this year, freshmen, and 50 were new in the class prior. So that means there are about 50 what we call long-term representatives. So I found myself paying a lot of attention and listening very intently to the people that have been there for longer terms. There are a few people that have been in the House for more than 20 years. And some of the people that have been in the House speak with such wisdom and understanding. So it's really, it's important to me to pay attention to those people, listen to what their viewpoints are, no matter what their political persuasions are, what their viewpoints are. 50 of us were new, and in this particular class of 50 people this year, more of them were Republican than Democrat. That's unusual in the state of Vermont, but that's what happened this year. It's not a big difference, but I think there are about 20 Democrats out of the 50. The second thing that I'd like to speak about is education. The transformation that's coming for education, and I know it's a very important issue here in Vernon, I know, and so I'm happy to talk about it. I have been doing some talking with various folks about it over time. The education bill passed, and I will say that at the very beginning, there's very little that's going to actually change about the way Vermont produces and operates its education system for the next couple of years. This bill is made to work, and the plans that are built on it are based on making sure that we can predict good, strong outcomes for the future. So no steps will be taken. A path has been laid, but no steps will be taken unless we have confidence prior. So there are going to be many opportunities for the House and the Senate to revisit issues that are now inside this bill to make sure that we're moving forward in a good way. The main thing that you'll see early on, and it's already started, there's an 11-person committee whose job it is to draw a set of district boundaries for the state of Vermont. You know that the governor presented a plan of 5 districts, and that's there was a lot of reaction to that, a lot of ways. The House and the Senate, in their work, the House chose not to focus on trying to spend time coming up with a set of boundaries, but instead wanted to hand that responsibility off to a group like that's looking at it right now. Very strong experts in the field who can look at the situation and weigh in about what will be some best outcomes. It seems as if, it's anyone's guess, but it seems as if there will be ultimately somewhere between 12 and 25 school districts in the state of Vermont, as opposed to the 55 that we have now. There are 55 school districts and some larger number of supervisory unions. I get the language all mixed up. Wyndham Southeast Supervisory District is both a district and a union, because Vernon is its own school system that is part of the district. And so we formed the Wyndham Southeast Supervisory Union has a union with Vernon, and that makes it a district. I will also say that this part of the corner of the state has been practicing and doing this kind of multi-town education for as long as I've lived here, which is over 40 years. So I sense that this part of the state is going to be very practiced at sort of absorbing and dealing with the kinds of issues that might come our way, as opposed to some towns in the state of Vermont which have been completely their own town, trying to manage their own education completely on their own for a couple hundred years. And so there are a lot of changes for a lot of communities. A big one for Vernon that's happening immediately is that students will be able, public dollars will be able to follow students, as in the case of Vernon, outside the state to within a certain district outside the state. Public dollars can still follow to public institutions, not to private institutions. That's changing for the entire state. No longer will private, and it's defined what a private institution is, but that is a change that will affect Vernon theoretically right away. So I'd be happy to talk about that further. I don't know a lot. I'm not on the education committee, and I know people I can point you to that will have better answers than I might have. Let me go on then to healthcare. Just quickly to say at a high level, the Vermont healthcare system is, even before the federal impacts that are coming our way in the next couple of years, the entire state of Vermont's healthcare system is in very dire straits. There are 14 hospitals in the state of Vermont, 9 of which are on the verge of closing prior to whatever might come from the federal government as we move forward. So three important bills were taken this and approved this year to try to cap costs and begin to, manage costs throughout the system. Because it's true that getting healthcare insurance on the market, Vermont is very expensive to do that compared to other states. And so these are going to be some efforts to try to bring Vermont a little bit more reasonably into line, not only with insurance, but also with drugs, cost of medications. And then the Medicare and the Medicaid cuts are going to start happening. And so there's going to be a lot of energy in the legislature over the next year or two to address what we anticipate is coming. So it's going to be a pretty intense time. I did want to speak for a moment about housing, in the sense just to put it on the radar and let you know that it's something that the legislature takes very seriously. Housing is probably the issue that's at the root of practically every other problem in the state of Vermont. From the point of view of just having enough spaces for people to live in. It has to deal with being able to attract good quality folks to our region. And when we talk about housing in Vermont, we're not talking about, there's not only one section that's has issues, one portion of the spectrum of housing. The entire spectrum of housing is shortchanged at this point and needs work. So there have been some very strong actions. We know that for Vermont to get up to where it needs to be, we need to see about 30,000 housing starts now. That's been building over the last few years. A bill that was passed this year over the next couple of years it won't answer to 30,000 housing starts, but it might make a difference for about 7,000 in the next couple of years. So there's a dent, we hope, that can be made. And the language that's being changed, that's being in these bills, has to do with collaborating to build housing, so it's not just on the hands of communities, or not just on the hands of developers, or not just on the hands of private individuals, on the shoulders, I should say, but is actually building tools that will make opportunities for collaboration. So those are the top issues that I witnessed, and I was part of decision making. There's lots more going on, of course, there's, I don't know how active anyone in Vernon is looking at the state legislative page, but everything is recorded, everything is very well taken care of. The legislature is incredibly well supported by a team of legal experts called Legal Counsel, Legislative Counsel, and then also the Joint Fiscal Office, which deals with all of our financial issues. Incredible supports there. And then I just want to say that I have a newsletter that I produce. I've been off for a couple of months here, but I produce that monthly. I have meetings that some of you have come to on Saturday mornings, alternately in Guilford or Vernon during the course of the year. And I have started a podcast with my seatmate in the house. I don't know if you know about the house, the way it's set up, but there's one person that you're physically the closest to when we sit in the chamber, and that person is Ian Goodnow, new representative from Brattleboro, and he and I have hit it off well, and so we have a podcast to just talk about what it means for us to be first year folks. And I'm reachable anytime. I have a website, so people can reach me. People do contact me, and I'm very grateful for that. I'll be a better legislator as people reach out to me. And I just want to say again that it's an incredible honor for me to serve in this role. So thank you for your support and what you do here in your community. And if there are ways I can listen and learn more about what's going on here in Vernon, I'm happy to do that. So feel free to call me anytime. And I'm happy to answer any questions if folks have any.
No? Okay. Thank you for that presentation. That was quite informative. And yeah, we spent a lot of time looking at the everything that legislative page is just so informative, for crying out loud. It's like being there. Well, aside from the nuances of.
I certainly use it daily.
Yep.
So that's where.
So the meetings that you have alternating between Guilford and Vernon, great idea. If you can, please continue that.
I will.
Whoa.
So they'll start
I'm a
back
real
up in
fan of
September.
that. Okay. Any other questions? No?
Oh,
All right.
All right, well, thank you. I'm gonna slip out because I got a call from a friend that I haven't seen for a while who's here this evening, so I'll
Nice.
step
Okay.
away. And let me know about the format.
Yep.
I'm happy to take it, if you would prefer information in a different way, let me know.
Oh, definitely.
If I go on too long, let me know, all that kind of stuff, all right?
Thank
Okay.
you very
Thank you.
much. Thank
See you.
you.
Take care.
Have a great night.
I think I'll throw the two items that I had in before we go to old business, unless there's an issue with that. But they're relatively quick. The BDCC is sponsoring a meeting at the Governor Hunt House on the 10th of September. And the idea is they're looking for businesses that come there that need funding or need assistance in growing. And I would like any recommendations that anybody has on how we can possibly get this word out to as many people as possible. I'm gonna give a copy to Heidi for posting. You see if Tim will put it on the newsletter, yep. Maybe I'll take a copy and put it over in the post office.
I can do that. I can put one in
The problem is when you look at the letter, you see seeds up there and you say BDCC, and then down here's a nice paragraph where it talks about the Governor Hunt House, and I'm worried that people aren't gonna get to read that. So I'm thinking of reformatting that and saying, at the Governor Hunt House on September 10th, come by and see what BDCC has to offer.
I can also put it in the morning message if you want.
Okay, yes, definitely.
You know, it goes.
What time on the 10th?
It's, did they do a time to you? Because there's no time in this,
I have not been given a rental time.
okay.
Okay, it's
Um,
not that far away.
So we're in process on that. They contacted her for time, and then they said they were gonna get back and firm it
I've
up,
reached out.
and they published this without getting back to her and
Okay.
firming it up, so. So anyway, the other interesting event that happened was I had the good fortune to listen to the governor speak and met with some of his staff. I went specifically with a fellow named John, Zan, Zanin. And he schedules things for the governor, and he put me in contact with several people at the state with the idea of, I said, how do we improve the visibility down here in Vernon? How do we make the southern part of the state not just a afterthought? We don't have large industries and things like that. We're a small rural community. And so how do we increase the visibility at the state level? And so they want to have some meetings and they want to talk about that. So I'll send you guys copies of this letter that I got from them, and I got a letter from a lady named Brittany. She is the Brittany Wilson is the Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Public Service at State. And she says, hey, well, let's get together and discuss this. So I'm gonna be coming to everybody on the select board individually and my planning commission and saying, what kind of ideas have we got? Also, is there somebody that wants to take charge on this? I don't mind doing it, but I don't have to be the one that's in charge. We got somebody else that's better at it, well, I'll help them out, and we'll get it done that way. So heads up, I'm gonna be coming to you and asking you about ways that we can increase the visibility down here and maybe get more state funding and more positive visibility. Those are the two items that I had for extra, so we can, any questions about that? No? Let's slip into old business here. Tyler Cemetery tree pruning. No? All right. I don't see anything in my package about tree pruning.
Okay, so this was tabled
Okay.
from the previous meeting.
Yeah.
Oh.
The details are in the previous minutes.
Yep.
So this was tabled until we had a handle on how much was in the Tyler fund. And so I pulled some numbers. Currently in the budget is $7,500 in repairs and maintenance. And in the budget, they are expecting there to be about $8,320 in revenue into the fund.
Oh,
Every year I've pulled the figures. In 2022, the revenue was 11,000. In 2023, it was 7,089. And in 2024, 4,699. So for the tree pruning, in the amount of $1,200 to $1,500 should be well covered. I wasn't able to get the exact figure as our consultant has not been able to balance that fund just yet. She's been busy with other things.
so what did you anticipate the revenue for this year to be?
It's
Did you say?
it's in the budget as, I think it was 8,300.
Yeah.
So I have the values.
Oh, this one here.
Put it into the budget.
So that's their fund.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the interest.
Okay.
So the numbers
Oh.
that I have noted, those are all interest.
Okay.
So it appears we have funding for that, but do we have to decide between Marionette and Baldwin for who's gonna do the services, or are we gonna ask the cemetery committee to make a recommendation on that?
They brought it to the select board. It's the select board, I think, usually makes the determination.
Okay, have we used either one of them before?
I'm not aware.
Anson Baldwin has done, like Dave Walker will often have Anson Baldwin help him out with issues in town that are,
I thought I
requiring
recognized
that big
that,
stuff.
So, So with the funding available and we've had some experience with Baldwin, I'd entertain a motion to award that contract to Baldwin for pruning the cemetery at the 12 to 15K range that he quoted.
So
What do you think?
moved. So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right, excellent. Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All right, the next item is the Animal Control Services contract.
You have to say.
And I looked at this,
Mhm.
and,
These
now,
are the only statistics that I could pull from the last year.
yeah,
They have increased, services have increased between the last year and the previous year.
yes, I recognize that. The, this doesn't appear to just be animal control. There's a lot of stuff on this list here,
Because that was
burglary and,
from the
Sheriff,
Wyndham Sheriff's
Yeah.
Department.
yeah,
yeah,
And they just included it.
for
That was
our,
from the annual report.
yeah,
okay, so.
for Vernon, it's right, activity.
All right, what I'm alluding to here is, didn't our lister say that they would handle the animal control part of the house or, for no charge at all? I seem to recall that at the meeting,
Yes, it was just Jesse offered that,
yeah.
not the listers per se.
No,
Right.
it was the constables.
So what is the contract with the sheriff? What would it continue to cover in regard to, because the vicious animal issues and things that is still a legal issue that they would enforce regardless of if they were animal control or no?
I don't know their capacity to go to court and to deal with the town attorney on these involved matters. They're complicated. Even when there's a dog bite, you're supposed to go to the hospital and get the reports, and there's a lot to it.
And it looks like we had this is the last year.
Yeah.
That's from the last year. And we still have pending cases that she's working on.
Right.
And as I mentioned before, we have more than enough to cover this contract in the animal, those dog license fees. However, we would need to supplement in the next year, in the next contract. And I have updated the animal control ordinance regulating domestic pets and domestic animals to include higher fees in alignment with what Guilford currently has.
Excellent.
And that is with the attorney currently, who I believe is on vacation. I'll have that ready for the next meeting. So that would also give support to this contract financially.
One would think that, that having the sheriff take care of the animal control would relieve the town of some responsibilities regarding, legal actions and stuff. That if we were handling it on a, catch can and just sending somebody over there, we might see some legal ramifications from that, and that could more than exceed the cost of having the sheriff do it.
I totally agree with you, because things just get more complex, it seems. And for the protection of the town, I think you have to know what you're doing here. Plus, did you mention also, if we don't renew this contract, we won't get back in?
No. And the good thing about having this contract is that in a pinch, because we have both services with Wyndham County Sheriff's Department, they will overlap and they will,
Sure.
the animal control isn't on duty, that they will step in and
Sure.
do a little bit where they can. So that is the benefit. However, to try to get back in, it would be at a higher expense if we decided to leave.
I get that, people wanna save money, but are we really? Is my question, in the end, when something comes
Right.
up, if it's mishandled.
Animal cruelty cases that we currently have.
Yeah.
I don't know what their capacity is to be going to court and to managing all of that, so
In this, there's a quarantine in here too. Is that something where they take the animals somewhere, or is that, do you know? I don't
it
know.
probably depends on
I'm
the
just thinking we
circumstance.
would certainly not have facilities for something.
Depending on the situation, I know sometimes the owner can quarantine.
Do you know?
I was just gonna say, don't we have a contract with the Humane Society for holding?
For holding, however, when it
Well,
comes
but
to
if it's
quarantine, I don't know if it's,
Quarantine,
I don't think it's the same
They
thing.
can do.
No.
yeah,
And that would be
Yeah.
where you're waiting to see the results of tests or to see whether the animal is,
So you may be talking a veterinary clinic
yeah.
where the animal may need to be held in the hospital.
Okay, now, didn't we already fund this at the town meeting?
No.
Okay, so this is something we have to do now.
well, because it's been coming out of the dog fund.
The dog, yep, the dog
But we
licensing
don't
fund.
have enough
We have enough this year to
for
cover this
this
contract.
year, for this
However,
contract.
next year, we need to start, ramping up and, figuring out where we're gonna take the remainder.
Even with the raises you just instituted. The increased fees,
I don't know.
okay.
I can't say specifically that it would be enough to cover it.
Yep.
However, it would be enough to bolster those funds.
I don't know, what do you think, board? I'm kind of leaning towards having the sheriff continue doing this. And, from what I understand, the fees vary dramatically from, depending on where you're at, into a lot more than we're charging for shots and
Licensing.
licensing.
And that's something else that we
You know,
can
so-
look at increasing a little bit.
I polled other towns and got information, and some of them are charging, $20, $21. And I think if I had given you the state statute, but the town can go $10, up to $10.
Of a
In
jump.
addition, yeah, but it would be in
Oh.
addition because the state takes the
Takes.
rest of their portion.
Yeah.
So we could theoretically, right now it's 11 and we keep 4.
Right.
Ouch.
So you could go $10 above what the state is gonna charge you.
All
You
right.
wanna look at that
Yep.
statute, but,
We could look at what we currently have and look at what the increase would bring.
I mean, you don't wanna discourage people from
No.
registering their dogs either, but in some ways, like, I just ordered the dog tags for next year and it was, $226. So, I mean,
Yeah, that's gotta come from somewhere,
mhm.
right?
All right, do we have a number that the sheriff's office wants to charge us for this service?
I have the contract,
Excellent.
$7,682 for the year.
$7,000.
$682.
Which is,
And we're gonna cover that with our licensing fees
In this, yes.
for this year.
Contract.
and we have the dog fund, right?
Yeah, that's where it's coming from the dog licensing.
Okay, Well, I would entertain a motion to expend $7,682 to the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office to contract with them for animal control.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Town Administrator's Report.
Very short. So everyone has a new storage shelf unit for their meeting and reference materials. I don't know where you would like them placed, but you have space, so you have everything on the tables. I've updated the ordinance regulating domestic pets and animals. It's been sent to the attorney for review and will be on the next agenda. Hope to have it for the meeting. I hope that he'll have time to review it in that timeframe. I'm also updating the personnel policy, but that's a bit of a slower process because there are a few policies that we're looking at, and I've been working with the VLCT on that. So I'll be presenting those probably a little bit later in September. And that's all I have.
Guys interested in having an executive session? I don't see any interest in that. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 2nd, 2025. And without further ado, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for running the
Thank you.
meeting. Sure do appreciate it.
I'm gonna pay.